Welcome to the Fucking Mentality, the podcast, where we talk to business owners about their journey and what the fucking moment was that propelled them personally and professionally. This episode is sponsored by 12 Grains Capital, where we help you build better business.
Welcome. Who is David R. Sutantyo? Who are you, man?
That's always going to be the hardest question to answer for everyone, because what is your identity to? David Sutantyo, I am a married man, a father, and an entrepreneur, with a big ambition to take over the world with one cup of coffee at a time.
Coffee, yeah. You're a coffee connoisseur, right?
I wouldn't call myself a coffee connoisseur, but I do love my coffee.
Yeah.
But who is David? I don't know. I'm still looking for my identity.
And why do you want to change the world?
To make the world a better place, and it starts with me.
Yeah.
There's always something that you can bring out to the world or add value to, and that's the way I see a lot of things as well. It's how I add value to something. How do I add value to other people's life? Yeah. And there is an exercise that I do with a lot of my staff, and my brokers at the moment as well. It's called I call it the coffin exercise. I can't remember what it's actually called. And the way it works is, imagine yourself laying in a coffin, and you have all your good friends, your family. It's your funeral, basically. What do you want them to say about you? And that's how you mold your identity, and that's how you begin with the end in mind, so to speak.
And how would you like to be remembered in your coffin?
That I am someone who brings peace in other people's life, who brings inspiration, who taught them how to be a leader, and how to bring more value to the world, basically. Yeah.
In terms of you speak a lot about value. How did you find out what your skill value is and how you can bring value to people? Because you do it through 12 Grain, and you also do it through other ways. But
well, I try.
Yeah.
Adding value to other people's life, you need to understand what they're struggling with, and it all comes down to having a genuine one-to-one conversation. And that's something that a lot of people take for granted as well, is mental health. There's still a stigma around mental health where it's seen as a weakness. And that's what I'm trying to break in myself as well, is trying to open up a little bit more, so people would open up to me a bit more as well. Yeah. And there is there's I don't know what the exact word that I can use to describe it, but there is peace, I suppose, in opening up, or and the more you genuinely want to listen to others, the more you'll learn about them as well, and the more you know how you could contribute or how you can help them in their life.
And it's being curious about them and just knowing.
Genuine curiosity, yes.
Okay, beautiful. And tell me a little bit how that's been a big influence since your childhood, and how that carried also throughout your career. I mean, that curiosity, what you're doing at the moment. Is there a parallel between those?
Curiosity and my upbringing. Yeah. I've always been a curious kid. So growing up, I still remember that I used to stay in my uncle's place, who's a doctor, and he's got encyclopedias all over his house. And that's what I was very, very excited for every time I go there and stay at their place, is to wake up on a Saturday morning and just go through all those encyclopedias and try to find out how things work. I like taking my toys apart and then put them back on again. I was fascinated with car engineering growing up. It's all about pulling things apart and putting them back on again. That's so satisfying about that. And it's the same thing with people as well. My dad always told me that I tend to oversimplify everything, and that's how my brain works. So you take a problem, a very complicated problem, no matter in anything or in anyone, you just condense it into one simple problem. And basically you take that problem as the biggest challenge. You list out 3 things that you think will be able to fix that, and you pick one recommendation. That's how you solve problem. In most cases, simple. I think nearly all cases.
Yeah. Very simple. Okay. And I wanted to ask you about your cultural heritage as well, since you're not Aussie.
Yeah.
How has your upbringing, like from different cultures as well, influenced your perspective on business, on life, and how you approach things as well? Do you have a cross-generational thing? Or culture thing?
Cross-generational things. Not really. I don't think. I remember growing up. I didn't fit in.
Yeah.
I did not fit in at all. Yeah. So
okay.
I didn't like the way people did things back then in my hometown. It was a small town in Borneo, and everyone knows everyone basically. So news spread. And the biggest thing that I don't like is people talking about other people, and there's very little talks about how to improve other people's life.
Yeah, selfish. Yeah.
It is selfish, and also in a way, it's not adding value to anything really. If anything, it's bringing the morale down, and you're just basically running around in a circle. I didn't really fit in.
Yeah.
So I grew up a Catholic, a devout Catholic.
Wow.
And that's hence my name, David, and hence my company name, 12 Grains as well, from 12 Disciples. My parents, I think my parents hated me because I had piercings, I had tattoos. I went to the church with face piercings and tattoos.
Yeah. Oh my God, I didn't. Oh.
Yeah. So it's just, in a way, I think that's just one way for me to say, hey, look, I'm against this. I'm just trying to prove that this means nothing, and your appearance mean nothing at all.
Of course.
It's what you do to other people that matters, basically.
And would you consider yourself at the moment to be spiritual, religious?
I'm not particularly spiritual or religious. I left religion probably back in 2012, 2013, and there's a reason for it as well. I used to be a believer. I went to church every week, maybe multiple times a week.
Yeah.
Prayed a lot, and nothing happened. It's basically you're hoping for something to happen without you putting in the work. And at one point, I thought to myself, well, I got angry at God. And I said, look, I'm going to stop blaming things that are not happening on God, because there is no God.
Do it yourself.
Started doing everything myself, and I only have myself to blame. From there on, the perspective changed, and things started to happen when you take accountability on yourself.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, I hear you. I wanted to go back to getting some advice to those people that are trying to find their path as well.
Yeah.
What would you say to them? The ones that have the good intention, they want to do good, they want to add value to people, but not necessarily have found a clear path of how to provide that value and how to go about it.
Yep.
What kind of advice would you give?
A lot of people, those who know where they want to go, those who can get there because they know where they want to go. So you've got to start with the end in mind. Like I mentioned earlier, with the coffin exercise, you need to know, look at yourself when you're lying in your coffin. It's your funeral. What you want people to say about you? Where do you want to go? What does the end look like? once you have that image, you work backwards. You ask yourself, I call it the sevenfold why. Why do you want to do that? Why? And you get to an answer, a very core answer. And the path will show itself as long as you make the first step. It's like exploring a new world. You make the first step as long as you know the direction or the place that you want to go.
Yeah.
You just enjoy the process.
Okay.
Yeah.
So talking about that as well, because you, throughout your career and your lifestyle, and just like anyone else, you've transitioned from different points in terms of which industry you were in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you weren't in the same industry from the very beginning.
Yep.
So keeping that mindset in mind of, like being at the, thinking, working backwards in terms of reverse engineering, how do you adapt to different changes? How do you be okay with, moving careers and pathways? And how did you adapt? Does that make sense?
Yeah, adapt to different changes.
Things at you, exactly.
In terms of running a business?
In terms of, changing your different pivoting, those kind of stuff, yeah.
Well, look, the rule for business is very simple. You make sales, and you spend less money than the sales that you make, then it's a business. So that sort of philosophy carries on across different industries as well. Whether I used to be in the coffee industry and now I'm in finance industry. In the end of the day, you're going to be doing the same thing, which is serving customers. Yeah. And you're providing experience for your customers, and why they come back is because of the experience that they had with you. Yeah. You've got to have a very good relationship with money as well. I had bad relationship with money, and I had to learn that the hard way as well. I didn't grow up with a lot of money, so once I had a little bit of money, I go, oh, okay, I'm gonna take this to the candy shop. I'm gonna spend it. Yeah, because I deserve it, basically. But once you change your relationship with money and you understand that that money is a reward, that changes everything. When it comes to running a business, how do I adapt in different sort of industries? I don't know how to answer that, to be very honest.
It's okay.
Yeah. It's just, I would say, commit first and figure it out after. Okay. And that's the big thing behind the fuck it mentality as well.
It is. No, you're right. You figure it out in the process. You can never plan everything. It's impossible. So I want to ask about the fundamentals of learning about money, because people don't grow up learning about it that much. They don't teach it at school. Yeah. How do you go about it? Let's say one wants to learn. How do you go about the fundamentals? Do you recommend?
I didn't grow up with a lot of business guru or mentors either, because my parents were just office workers working for someone else. Yeah. So and that's the reason why I thought to myself that I thought that I was very, very different, because I didn't want to be those guys. You know what I mean? Going to office 9 to 5 and then go home and just do what society tells you to do. Yeah. So I read a lot of books, business books, a lot of self-help books.
Any recommendation? Top 3 books?
Any recommendation? Top 3? I would say let me bring up my Audible actually. So I've got
to listen to Audible. Hey, I'm the same.
I do. I listen to Audibles. I used to read a lot of books, but since I came to Australia, everything becomes 100 miles an hour, and you don't have time to read books anymore. I do miss the feel of paper, flicking through them, and the smell of it as well. Yeah. So 7 habits of highly effective people. 0 to 1. How to win friends and influence people.
I love that one. Yeah. Dale Carnegie.
Correct.
You should, man. It's crazy.
Scaling Up. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Yeah. The 10X Rule, Grant Cardone. And the E-Myth. I can't remember who the author was. Let me see. It's not here. Yeah, so the E-Myth is I would say that's the one book that changed my perspective on how to run a business, especially in hospitality, forever. And the other book is Profit First. So Profit First is another one of my favorite because it tells you that you should pay yourself first before anyone else. Because a lot of business owners, they tend to forget that they are also a staff, right?
Yeah.
Basically, you're a staff in your own business. I know that you're doing the noble thing. You're trying to pay your suppliers first. You try to pay the rent, your bills, your dues first. But you've got to remember to pay yourself as well, because in the end of the day, that's what makes it worth it.
Yeah.
So what essentially what it says in the book is pay yourself as little, the minimum amount that you can sustain your life with, say 10%, or I used to pay myself $3,000 a month.
Nice.
Yeah. No matter how much I earn or how little I earn, that's the bare minimum that I would take from the business. Yeah. So that also pushes you to pour more dough on the top.
Correct. It's a commitment. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's what pushes the business forward. So you increase that amount little by little every month. You gotta make a commitment to yourself. Yeah, I'm gonna double this in 6 months' time, for example.
Here's a fun question. You've worked with a lot of businesses, and speaking of holes and things to improve the business, to move it forward, what would you say is like the top 3 common, not starting out, so like current business owners?
Yeah.
The top 3 current holes that are easy to fix, like as simple as having your income and revenue being a lot higher, or like having it generally less than you spend. Give me like top 3 that you found and how people can fix it for those small business owners.
There's nothing small about small business owners. There's a million things that you need to think of. Yeah. First and foremost is your numbers. You need to understand your numbers. What goes in needs to be more than what goes out. And the second one I would say is the systems and processes. You don't want to be thinking about a million things and doing just 10 things. Yeah. You know what I mean? So once you have your systems and processes in place, your automations, your business can run on autopilot, and you can start working on your business instead of in your business. That frees up a lot of my time. So I spent, in the early days, I spent a lot of my time setting up the systems and processes, probably about 15, 16 hours a day, working on that for 2 weeks straight. Wow. But once that's set up, I can just go out there and network and find referral partners, and be focused on my clients, and 100% with my clients. Yeah. The third thing as well is don't worry about what people perceive of your business, or don't worry about what others do in their businesses. Just focus on bettering yourself. Try to be better than yourself from the day before. Try to reflect on yourself as well. I never see any businesses as our competitors. Yeah. I always see them as either I can add value to them or they can add value to me. So there's always going to be something that we can work together on. I can't solve every problem, but I believe that if I take the problem elsewhere, we can solve it together. Or there's always going to be a beneficial relationship for our clients, basically.
It's a healthy mindset. And I would say one thing you maybe can give advice on is on the culture of comparison. We live in social media, people compare different businesses, cafes to different, but everyone's on a different journey. What would you say to that? Because it is discouraging sometimes. It's
all smokes and mirrors. Yeah. I've met a lot of business owners who appear
glamorous.
Yeah, glamorous, very, very successful on their Instagram. In reality, I would say 80 to 90% business owners or businesses are struggling. Yeah. What you see on social media is just all the fluff. Yeah. Yeah. So don't trust that.
Yeah. Agreed. And just focus on yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. Focus on yourself, focus on where you want to go, focus on growth, have your targets clearly written down as well. There's nothing more satisfying than ticking off those targets.
100%, it is. So I wanted to talk to you about the inception of 12 Grains Capital and why it came about.
12 Grains Capital. 12 Grains Capital started off in 2015. So I am always fascinated with numbers.
Yeah.
Numerology. And 12 actually comes from 12 disciples. Even though I'm not practicing anymore, it's still in my blood, because that's your upbringing, right?
Of course.
Yeah. And I hold the philosophy very dearly. So the idea is to be the salt and light for the world.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have my 12 disciples to be able to spread, our message all over the world as well. That's the goal. I used to be in the coffee industry, and I call it 12 grains. So we can change the world one cup of coffee at a time. So back to that.
Yeah.
And then in the end of 2019, early 2020, the wife was complaining to me that I was working too much in between coffee business and finance business.
Yeah.
So I decided to let both go and relaunch the finance business with the same name, 12 Grains Holdings.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Same philosophy again. But yeah, just a different business.
I don't think there's anyone out there that's in the coffee and finance industry, so it's cool. One of one. Yeah, it's unique.
I think that there would be a few.
Yeah, I'm sure, but it's definitely very unique. So this is not what's your fuck up moment. I'll leave this to the end, but I wanted to maybe explore a significant moment, whether it's early in your career or whenever, that's kind of significantly impacted how you approach a business. So it's not the fuck up moment, it's more like, you have one, tell me.
I have a few.
Yeah, tell me one of them. Tell me the best one.
The first one was when I started 12 Grains Capital.
Yeah.
I started it, so the story, how I started it, I spent all my money. I drained my savings basically. So I drained my savings purchasing 2 properties just to create a pressure for myself as well. So I don't have any plan B or safety net. That way I can really push myself. I said to Viola, I said, in the first couple of years, we're going to eat shit. It's going to be tough. Are you going to be ready?
Your wife.
Yeah. Because I drained my savings. I took out a credit card. And basically that's what I started off with, just a laptop, a phone, and a credit card.
Damn.
Yeah. With $0 in savings.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I've got a wife and I've got a son to feed.
Damn.
So I've got to really, really, really push myself. I got to make it work within 3 months. I need to really generate income within the 3 months, especially in a mortgage industry.
Yeah.
You don't get paid until you're 6 months in. So I need to get really creative. When things get tough, people get creative.
Of course.
And that's what I like about COVID as well. It changes the whole,
Add
everything
COVID to the mix. Yeah. Crazy.
What was I going to say? So when things get tough, people get creative. And I had to pivot. I had to figure out how to make money very quickly.
Yeah.
In a short period of time. And that's when I discovered unsecured business loans.
Okay.
That opened up a whole new world for me.
In which way? Faster?
Sorry?
Faster?
It's faster because, unsecured, you can settle within a couple of days, and you get paid within a couple of days as well.
Wow.
And that becomes our bread and butter. Is to help business owners who are in growth phase, who need quick funding, without a lot of the banks normally will take 5 to 6 weeks. They need quick funding to seize golden opportunity, basically.
Of course.
And we come in and say, look, here's the money. Do whatever you want to do. Within 3 to 6 months' time, we will explore a better option for you.
Nice. Very nice. And you provide value that way. So that
100%.
It's a big moment.
I've taken out those loans myself, so I know how valuable they are.
So would you recommend to people to put themselves in that kind of pressure, unbelievable pressure?
I really don't recommend you do that. I don't recommend anyone does that. What works for me might not work for anyone else.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person who needs a little bit of pressure to grow. I mean, a lot of people need pressure to grow, but just don't be stupid like me.
No,
I'm a risk taker.
I love it. Speaking about risk taking, I'm sure that also has its fair set of setbacks and failures.
Yes.
Tell me about one of your biggest failures and how you adapted from that.
Yes. So being impulsive and a risk taker at the same time is not a good combination. I've got to a couple of points in my career where I had, well, basically my bank account went negative. Yeah. And the most humiliating thing is to ask your wife for money. Trust me, that was the most humiliating thing. I had to do it twice.
Yeah.
And I'm not proud of myself.
It's okay.
But when you, one thing I can say is when you bounce hard, you bounce back hard.
Yeah. Wow. But that's part of the process.
It's part of the process.
Can't go without it. Okay.
And I don't know why anyone wants to be a business owner if they know what we're going through.
So then what about, speaking of bouncing hard, that's actually a question here. Like a story where your risk actually paid off really well and it bounced really well.
Yeah. Again, it's a story of when things get tough, people get creative. So you gotta think of... You've got to think of new ways. This is the way I try to push myself as well to be creative. Is to create hardship for myself.
Yeah.
So my life is constantly up and down like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
In a good way. It's I enjoy it. It's a good stress, but I don't recommend it to anyone.
Of course.
At all. So. Planning ahead, budgeting is very important. But yeah, trying to find better ways of doing things constantly. If you're not being pressured that way, and if you can, try to keep thinking about how you can better things or do things better. You're a good business owner.
Okay. How do you manage both stress and work-life balance as well? Is that important for business owners to keep in check? I mean, it's hard, right?
I don't manage it very well at all.
So you can't provide advice?
So meditation. Well, I'm doing a lot better now.
Yeah.
Meditating, exercise, eat well.
Yeah.
Go out in the sun. Stay grounded.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Nice.
Yeah. Because you got to really spend some time with yourself as well.
Of course.
Because otherwise you'll burn out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of then, what's the most satisfying part of your work? Is it serving the customer? Is it like, what's the moment you live for?
It's when a customer said to me, I thought I wouldn't be able to get a loan anywhere, and you guys helped me. Now my business is up and running again.
It's crazy.
Yes.
You saved them.
Yes. And most of the time it's not the biggest loan amount.
Yeah.
It's the 5 to 10 grand sort of loan amount. You're earning next to nothing from that, but it's the feeling of it, it's the satisfaction of knowing that you actually turn someone's life around, turn someone's business around.
Of course.
That you really enjoy the most. That's basically why we're in the business.
I love it. So David, what is your fuck up moment?
What is my fucking moment? Which ones?
The big one.
My biggest fucking moment, I think that changed the course of everything, was in the end of 2019. Where I decided to let go of both my cafe and finance business at the same time. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was scary, but that was very rewarding at the same time.
Why?
Why? The true story was because Viola was complaining. And I just don't like. Yeah, I would rather. I hate complaints.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to fix the problem.
Of course.
That's it. Yeah. If that's
so then you were like, screw it, I'm gonna close and move on.
Yeah. Wow. You wanna protect your peace as well.
Yeah.
Otherwise you wouldn't be able to go far. So if there's one thing that I can do to stop her complaining, I would just do it, because I can always figure things out. And a lot of people. So okay, there's the story of how I came to Sydney as well was quite a bit funny.
Tell me.
I said to my dad that I wanted to go to Jakarta because after high school, this was because a lot of my friends are in Jakarta, and he said to me, "Why don't you just go to Sydney?" I thought it was a joke, and I came here. I thought it was a joke, and so I said yes. And the next thing I knew, I was on a plane to Sydney.
Damn.
Long story short, it really opened up my eyes. I've stayed in a crowded apartment with some people from my hometown as well, and within a month or so, everyone's got a job already here. And I was the only one left who couldn't find a job. I got rejected from KFC. I got rejected from McDonald's. No one wanted me, basically. I was devastated.
Oh my God.
So I drained all the savings. I paid my tuition. I paid my rent and the holding deposit. So I had $200 left in my bank account at the time.
Wow.
I didn't dare to go back to my parents and ask them for more money. Because I just didn't want to burden them.
Yeah.
So I used that last $200 to learn how to make coffee.
Yeah.
And my first job was in a car wash cafe.
Wow.
I got accepted in a car wash cafe.
Wow.
It's a 24-hour car wash. And I just spent the whole night learning how to pour latte art and stuff.
Wow.
And when I get home, I would obsess myself in YouTube on how to learning how to make coffee, perfecting the latte art, perfecting how you dose coffee and all that. I got held at knife point twice.
Seriously, at that?
Yeah.
Jesus, which area is this?
That was in Alexandria back in
really?
2008, and that was a very, very shady area. So Alexandria now is very, very different now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very modern.
Yeah,
now.
it's very gentrified.
Wow.
But yeah, I got held at knife point twice. I still remember.
You kept going after the first one. You just kept going.
I kept going.
Why not?
I said, look, just take whatever you want. There's about 12 cameras there, 15 cameras there. Yeah.
But how you do one thing is how you do everything. So whatever you did back then is
100%.
You still apply the same
100%.
dedication.
And this is what I found as well. If you really obsess on one thing, you're going to do very, very well at that.
Of course. Yeah. Of course. Okay. I love it. So I wanted to ask you about, since you've been in different market conditions, both geographically and in terms of, going through COVID, you've been outside of Australia. How do you ensure your company and also other business owners keep adapting to changing market conditions?
You've just got to be creative. One thing doesn't work forever. You've just got to adapt to the change. Now AI is a very big talk in all industries, and people are fearing that AI is going to take over their job. I see AI as a very helpful tool. Either you work with it or you work against it. It saves you. I'm big in automation, so I see AI as going to be a big time saver as well. Yeah. There are certain things that AI can't change. For example, customer service. Yeah. Yeah. So no matter what industry you're in, if you put the customers first, if you put the customer experience first, you'll always win. Yeah.
You don't think that's ever going to change customer service in AI?
Nope. That's my core belief, because we are a social being, and we really crave the connection socially, between humans, basically. Yeah, that is true. And that cannot be replaced by AI.
Correct. Yeah. I actually agree. So I want to just dive a little bit more, because it is interesting, like how what the misconceptions are in the finance industry and AI and how it's changing it. Like what's
the biggest misconception?
Yeah, like what's happening?
That debt is evil.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. So a lot of people think that, oh, debt is evil, money is evil. This is touching on the topic again, that you need to have a very good relationship with money.
Yeah.
If you're not welcoming money, or if you see that money is evil, you're not going to have a very good relationship, and you're not going to have an abundance of it.
Yeah.
The biggest misconception that debt is evil is wrong. So I know that there is good debt, there is bad debt. Good debt is the ones that make you money. You take a bit of debt, and then you purchase an asset, for example, that can help with your business, help with your, growing your business, growing your turnover, for example. That is a good debt, but just use it very carefully. The bad debt is the ones that don't return you money. Say, for example, you take a debt to purchase a property to live in. A lot of people say, oh, but a property is an asset. Yes, it is. But if it's not returning you any money, that's a liability.
Correct.
Yeah. So if you have an owner-occupied property and 10 investment properties, you want to pay off the owner-occupied property first, because it's not returning you any money at all. The investment properties, they're returning you rental income, and the rental income can cover a part of your mortgage repayment as well.
Yeah.
So it's a no-brainer. You can reduce your tax payments as well from there.
Okay. Yeah. Beautiful. In terms of, do you think ahead that much in terms of next few years of where you want to take the business, or you don't?
I do think very, very far ahead, but I'm not the kind of person who thinks, oh, what am I going to do the next day? I used to be that person. So the way I set goals nowadays is I set the goal 3, 6 and 12 months ahead. What's the goal this quarter? What's the goal next quarter? What's the goal in 3 years? What's the goal in 5 years time? So I have a general idea of which direction I want to go to, and how I get there is another story, because you'll find twists and turns along the way, and you'll have to be very adaptable to that. But as long as you're heading the right direction, all the obstacles you can overcome. Yeah, you'll find the solution for every obstacle, because again, when things get tough, people get creative. Yeah.
But would you say, in order to be in that kind of mindset of, fixing all these problems, would you need to have a very strong reason why? Is that what you recommend to people to have?
You need to have a very strong reason why, and you need to be agile as well as a business owner. No matter whatever. Well, a lot of people, everyone actually, if they get thrown something, they'll know how to manage it. Yeah. Most people grow up in a world full of cushions. Yeah. So they don't. This is what I fear with this generation as well, is that they become a little bit soft, and they don't know how to solve problems, and they don't know how to solve them very quickly, because someone else would have solved it for them. Yeah.
Softy. So tell me about how to have a thick skin.
Sorry?
How do you have thick skin? If in a nice way, like those that have.
How do I fix things?
No. Soft skin and thick skin.
Oh, soft skin and thick skin.
Yeah.
What
this
do you mean?
Generation.
As in?
Because you mentioned this generation.
Yes.
Yeah.
They just need to be put in hardship, either like artificial hardship or an actual hardship. Viola is going to kill me if I say this, but I would really chuck Levi, my 6.5-year-old son at the moment. I would chuck him into old school sort of kitchen to learn from the best chef, because kitchen is the best teacher.
It is very pressure.
You worked in a kitchen before?
I watched The Bear, but I didn't work in a kitchen. You know The Bear? It's a good TV show. The Bear. It's actually a really good TV show about a chef who who works in a 3 Michelin star.
I don't watch TV, so tell me about it.
Man, in The Bear. So basically, you're following a story of a guy who's like a very, very good chef.
Yeah.
That works in 3 Michelin stars, but then he leaves his job to take over like a really dirty kitchen from his brother. Watching it and seeing the way that they do the cinematography and the way they follow the story, it's brilliant because you feel the pressure that people go through behind the kitchen. I mean, when you're dining, you don't really think about it, but to serve that many customers and to have that right system, it's not easy. So I can totally understand, having seen that movie and seeing that perspective, throw Levi into the old kitchen. And man.
Toughen up.
Yeah, of course.
Basically, and
there's no other environment like it, by the way.
Yeah, and that's how you learn not to take things personally as well. Yeah. Don't take things personally, take things professionally. Yeah. So everything that's said in the kitchen will stay in the kitchen, and that is to get the best outcome for the clients. Basically, it's not all about you.
Sure.
Yeah, and once the service is over, everyone's having a beer and having a blast with each other again.
Yeah, actually, I want to ask you now, because now that you've ran successful cafes and / kitchens, it's all about having very consistent coffee and meals, right? It's that consistent service to the customer.
That's one part of it, yeah.
That's one part. Did you carry that into the the finance industry as well?
100%. Yeah. So to serve the best product to your customers, there's a lot of thoughts and efforts put into it as well.
Correct.
Back in the days when we had to make coffee and serve a lot of people, make coffee, food, serve a lot of people, we time everything because time is crucial. If you wait in a restaurant, say you look around and you say, oh, there's 10 staff standing around and there's not even many people in a restaurant, and you're waiting for your food for over 45 minutes. Would you come back?
Yeah.
No, right? So you tend to time everything, measure everything, and you constantly find a way to refine your processes. And that's how we got into, I put this on our website as well, and we can guarantee that we will find you a solution within 10 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, which you did.
Yes.
With me, yeah.
And that's...
You did, on WhatsApp, you did.
You want to share that story?
Yeah, of course. So a personal story of mine is, as a business owner as well, you get into situations where you need a bit of money to move forward, to save the business, really. Yep. And it's not easy getting a fast loan. It's very, very hard. Yep. And I was lucky enough to know you. And then I remember I was actually on a holiday. I was in Thailand. And I needed to have that certain amount to move forward with a crucial part of the business. So it was on WhatsApp. It just got resolved in like 5-10 minutes. I felt very happy. Seriously, it's as simple as that. And I think it's, you're right, AI can't really replace that, because there's that care and customer service. Yeah. And then the solution was there. And it was just obviously the process follows, which is very easy. But I think the most important thing is the reassurance that I got at that moment within those 10 minutes on chatting with you on WhatsApp. And it was, even outside of the hours, it was during December, it was a holiday. Christmas period. I think it was New Year, after New Year's. Yep. And I always tell my partner that was like one of my happiest moments, because it's, I was going to lose a business in a way. I just needed it. I needed to get that milestone. Yeah. And it was a very dry period of the business. Yep. It's New Year's, you're not working. So it's a blessing. Yeah. And I would say that was my first time that I had a good debt compared to a bad debt. Yeah. Because, I've had my fair share of bad debts, cars that are unnecessary, things like that. But that kind of debt, man, changes you and changes a relationship. So it's good. Yeah, good. 10 minutes is sure.
Well, at least you've got a healthy relationship with money, and you know how to use the debt correctly as well.
Of course.
As I always say, a debt is a double-edged sword. Unfortunately, I've seen enough customers coming to us with debts up to their eyeballs and say, hey, can you give me just a little bit more so we can survive? Yeah. When I look at it, it's almost like gambling. You know what I mean? Oh, it's just a little bit more, just one more token or whatever you call it, one more spin. Yeah. I've got to win the next time. Yeah. It's repetitive, and like you said, the way you do anything is the way you do everything.
Correct.
So in most cases, what I said to them is that, look, your up to your eyeballs in debt, and taking on more debt wouldn't help your business. I would normally then refer them to business restructuring professionals who can help them with managing their debts. But the problem with these business owners is that they think that they can put out the fire themselves, even though the fire is already out of control and it's already too big. And they refuse to seek help. They think that debt could help them. Well, look, from a professional perspective, viewpoint, that is not a solution.
No. So there's two questions I actually wanted to ask you about agility and growing a big business. So do you ever want to see your business become almost at a conglomerate stage? And do you compare yourself to like really big financial, dev companies? What's the pros and cons? People always want to be bigger. They want to have the big.
Did you say conglomerate?
Yeah, conglomerate. Is that's a word? No, isn't that like too big? Yeah, like Samsung.
The goal for me, it's not a goal. It's more like a challenge for me. I like challenging myself, and I'd like to see if I could meet this challenge to have my business as a household name, like Coca-Cola.
Yeah, so that's conglomerate, right?
Yeah. Omnipresent. But do I want to compete? Do I want to compete with the big boys? No, not really. Again, I don't see. I never really see other businesses as competitors.
Tell me more about that, Mate, because a lot of people find it hard. They would always compare themselves to the big boys, and like, how the hell would you be able to even get to their stage? Because they've been in the business for like 30 plus years. How do you go about that?
When you focus on other business, you'll neglect your own business, and you'll lose your business identity.
And uniqueness.
Your uniqueness, your why as well. Why you do things the way you do things. You're trying to replicate or try to get better than. You're very focused on that particular business that you want to beat, right?
Right.
Yeah. Instead of winning against yourself, to be better than yourself. Yes, your yesterday version of yourself. You're just, locked in on that particular business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair. So, becoming a conglomerate, I like that. One of the benefits of us being, smaller, huge businesses is agility and being able to adapt.
Correct.
I think that's a huge thing, right, compared to bigger businesses. How important would you say it's to keep that always in the core of your business, to be agile?
We want to be a big business and small at the same time.
Okay.
And that is the reason why I don't have any staff at the moment. And everyone is a business owner, so that they take care of their own business. As long as I find people with the same whys, with the same vision.
Tell me more about that. What do you mean? Everyone is a business owner around the business?
So with the finance brokerage at the moment, I've got a couple of brokers and hopefully onboarding some others.
Yeah.
They are on commission only base, and my role is to help them, to support them, to get to where they want to get to.
Wow.
I don't have any KPIs for them to achieve. I don't tell them, look, you need to write X amount of loans every month. You need to hit X amount of dollars every month. What I'm more advocating for is the way they do things, the way they find their clients, the way they treat their clients, and the way they nurture their clients as well. Because you want to be a farmer, not a hunter.
I liked what you said about that you work with business owners, brokers, and it's almost like collaborators, right, with the business.
Collaborators, yeah.
And I love that. We actually adapt the same thing. Like on our own website, we say collaborators, because I think that's the future in terms of you want to be able to open yourself up and have like a mutual. You know what I mean? A mutual beneficial thing, and they're self-managed, and it's easy to work with. But I feel like back in the days, it's not really a popular thing. Like most people want to have like people under them, a team that works, is doing the sales, all that kind of stuff. But then you have to manage, and you don't really give ownership to them as well. So it's a nice mindset to have.
I mean, it's just a different business model. It works for some people, but not for me.
Of course,
maybe.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Is the future entrepreneurship? What do you think more and more entrepreneurs will
Sorry?
Is the future in terms of entrepreneurship, do you think there's going to be more and more people doing this?
Yes and no. Different people, different personality.
Yeah.
A lot of people tend to find peace in working for someone else and just turning up and do what they're told to do.
Yeah.
They switch off after 5 o'clock in the afternoon, go home, be with their family.
Sure.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
And then you get the crazy ones like us.
Yeah.
who think about work 24/7 and struggle to find the balance in between work and life.
Of course.
But I do enjoy it. I enjoy what I do. And that's what keeps me happy.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm coming to my last questions. One question that's because you touched on it a little bit, and it's how do you balance both keeping the traditions of your business and the reasons why, but also being innovative with introducing AI and these other things. It's a fine balance in terms of still evolving, but also not forgetting who your identity is.
Yep.
How do you do that?
I see AI as a tool, but the vision and the mission, well, the philosophy behind the business needs to stay the same, which is we're here for our clients, we're here for customer service, and that's why they're still, the customers are still coming our way. It's for that. Yeah. Otherwise, they could just go to Google and just go, oh, what's the best loan for them? Yeah. And no human interaction at all.
Yeah. Which sucks.
That's what I reckon.
Okay. Last question is, who's been one of your biggest mentors, and what's one of a piece of advice that they gave to you that stands out?
The biggest mentor, I've got to mention Paul Chaker. Oh, because yes, he is actually my biggest mentor. So Paul Chaker gave me a free mentorship when I started off my cafe business. Yeah, that helped me a lot in understanding. Because I never had any business mentors before. I didn't know how to run a business. That was a very, very scary thing for me to open up my first business. Yeah. My parents didn't have their own business, so I grew up learning about business from books, basically. For someone to sit down next to me and say, this is what you got to think of. This is the sort of percentage that you need to break it down for. And what you need to focus on in a business is game changer.
It's huge.
That, and also he's an ongoing mentor for me now as well, personally and professionally. Yeah. I learn a lot from, because he mentors some of the biggest names, James Simon, as well as John McGrath. So he's built businesses, very successful businesses, and it's good to learn from someone who's been there, done that.
Of course. Yeah.
Learning about what challenges the other businesses face at the inception of the business, when they grown from a small to medium-sized business and growing from medium to big-sized business. You're basically going on their journey without being in their journey, if you know what I mean.
I do. Okay. Yeah. Beautiful. Any other points you want to mention, Dave?
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
Thank you for joining the Fucker podcast.
Thank you for listening. If you found it useful, please consider subscribing from anywhere you get your podcast to stay up to date with our episodes. And we'll see you next time.